Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the show. My name is DDare Bionic, if you did not know, and I am back with another video. I'm thirsty. I'm gonna go get some water. All right, y'all, so I am back with The Last of Us review. It's episode 5. It came out a couple days early, so it came out on Friday instead of Sunday because of the superb owl, Rihanna. Anyway, before we get into this review, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get a notification every single time I post a video. I post 2 times a week, one of which is my podcast, Mental Health Chat Monday. The second episode is out now with Nick Kane. Go listen, go watch. It is linked down below. You can listen to it everywhere you listen to your podcasts, or you can watch the real life version here on YouTube. Now, let's get into this episode because, honey, a lot happened. This episode was really, honestly, just as heartbreaking as the Bill and Frank episode. At the end of episode 4, we get the introduction of Henry and Sam. Henry is played by Lamar Johnson, and Sam is played by Kevion Woodard. Shout out to both of them because they did a phenomenal job. And I saw a lot of people online, a lot of my friends who haven't played the games, they get attached to these characters. And spoiler alert, they both die at the end of the show. But you get so attached to these characters and you really want them to survive and make it through a couple episodes, at least a couple episodes, but you lose them like in literally one episode. So I saw a lot of my friends online being like, this is so heartbreaking. Like, I got to learn not to get attached to anybody in this show because they're going to be gone by the end of the episode. And like, facts. Facts as fuck. But let's get into the details of the episode. Getting into the episode, so we start the episode with the end of episode 4 where Henry and Sam, or we actually start the episode with kind of a little bit of backstory as to why Henry and Sam are on the run. And not even necessarily why they're on the run. It's more of like them running and like how they hid away. You see the doctor that is killed in episode 4. You see him providing shelter for them. So you just kind of get a little backstory about where Henry and Sam are once they get to this episode. They actually see, or Henry actually sees. Henry is older, Sam is younger. They are brothers. Henry is the older brother, Sam is the younger brother. Let's establish that now. So we see Henry like actually, once they're about to run out of food and, he's like, all right, we got to get out of here. As they're living, they actually see the entire encounter with Joel, Ellie, and, the rest of the Resistance members. And so they make it their point to go to Joel. They follow him around the city and find him. And so they make this plan to get out of Kansas City. Henry is like, yo, I know how to do this. I've lived here my whole life. I know how to get out of here. And he's like, did you notice that there weren't any infected? They were all driven underground. But I have a credible source that says that they are gone from underground. So they go down into the tunnels and you get this great moment, a bunch of these really cool moments that were also in the game of like them being in this little safe haven that was obviously like a daycare situation for people who went underground to try and survive. And you get a lot of interaction between Ellie and Sam, and it's so nice to see that little moment of levity for the two of them because both of them have known nothing but. And so also it's in this moment where we find out why they're looking for Henry, because Kathleen is looking for Henry, and it's because he sold out her brother to Fedra, who was like the leader of the Resistance, in order to get, medicine for Sam, who had leukemia. So we find all that out, and he's like, am I still a bad guy? Am I still a good person? I've done bad guy things and all this other stuff, whatever. Existential crisis. So they go through the whole tunnels, they get out, they don't run into any infected. And then they get to, the city, and they're getting ready to cross the bridge. And they get to this point, and this is there's one big major difference in this entire episode that I cannot wait to get into. But one of the big differences is this whole neighborhood where all these cars are parked and, or not parked, but they're, dilapidated. And in this point in the game, And I'm honestly not certain if it was around the same time as the Henry Sam mission, but at this point in the game, you find you're being shot at by this guy from the window, and there's all these thugs. So it's all like the resistance who are trying to find you because of what happens in previous parts of the game where you kill a bunch of people. So resistance is trying to find you. There aren't all these like resistance members. There's just one guy, and then Joel is able to sneak in, kill the guy, but the resistance is on their way. Kathleen and Perry are on their way. They bring a bunch of people. Henry is about to give himself up. I am flying through this, y'all. I'm skipping over, which I'm not necessarily skipping over things, but a lot of the episode is them going from one place to one place. So I'm skipping all the like travel stuff and just hitting the big ticket moments. So Henry is about to give himself up, and then this truck blows up, and all these infected, including a bloater, which I'll talk about that in a minute, but all these infected come running from underground. I mean, clickers, runners, one bloater. I mean, they are just demolishing these people. So they're Ellie and Joel is in the building, in the house up at the top, and he's like protecting Ellie by shooting all these zombies. Sam and Henry are running and trying to get away, and they get stuck under this car, and they're being like grabbed and nipped at and all this stuff. So they get away. The bloater kills Perry. I mean, just like literally rips his head off. Kathleen catches up to them, and she gets killed by this little girl clicker who contorted into this car. It was a really cool scene. She like got in the car and like flipped around and flipped everybody around. I just want to say, these are all real people. They like the little girl, the guy in the bloater costume is a real person. The runners are real people, and they CGI'd some of it. Like you can tell that some of it is done in post, but for the most part, these are real people. This is practical effects. It's just so cool. It is so cool that they have real people in there, actually in the costumes, in the makeup, even a kid. Like everything is just so perfect the way it's being done. So that's happening. Kathleen gets killed. They get away to this hotel. Joel and Henry are in one room. Sam and Ellie are talking, and they're like, all right, it's time to go to bed. And they start to talk back and forth about turning into a monster and if it's still you. And Ellie and Sam shows Ellie that he's been bitten on his leg. And this is all what happens in the game. So far, most of this has been really, really accurate to the game, except for one big thing, and I want to talk about it at the end. That's kind of why I'm flying through this, because I want to talk about how impactful that change was. So Sam shows her the bite. She's like, my blood is medicine. She cuts her hand up and she tries to heal him. Like she shows him all of her bites that have healed up, and she hasn't turned. And he's like, stay up with me until the morning. And she falls asleep, gets up, and he has turned. And Sam, he's no longer Sam, but Sam has turned, chases Ellie out of the room. Pure reaction, Henry kills Sam, realizing that he really has nothing left to live for. He also unalives himself. And that's exactly how it happens in the game. And it is almost as tragic, if not more heartbreaking, to watch it play out. And the reason it is so much more heartbreaking is because of the change they made with Sam. So Sam is deaf in the show, and Sam is not deaf in the game. And I was racking my brain, but I was like, I don't remember him being deaf. And, they have the little inside the episodes at the end, and they were like, the biggest change is that Sam is deaf in this. And I was like, it made it so much more powerful that these two people who have only each other to depend on truly have only each other to depend on. Sam has this little, depending on how old you are, if you come from the 1900s like I do, there's those little pads that you write on, and you can pull the sheet up. It's like a carbon thing, and the top is plastic and you write out and it pulls it up and erases it. He had one of those so he could communicate by writing, but his main form of communication was sign language. And the actor playing Sam, Kavion Woodard, is deaf and uses sign language to communicate in his real, true life. And I thought it was for a multitude of reasons, but for two very important reasons. Three very important reasons. Though it made it so much more powerful that those two characters needed to be together to communicate to each other, for Sam to communicate his needs. And the fact that Henry wouldn't give up on him at all, ever. He would not leave him behind. And that was so beautiful. And then the second reason is the representation of using sign language and it being important even in a dystopian society. This character is deaf and has learned full sign language, has been taught can completely communicate. And the third reason is something that kind of just popped into my head, and I'm glad it did because it also was a great representation of Black deaf people. And, the characters are Black, and that might not seem important, but we don't really see ourselves on TV as deaf ever. And I'm sure there's deaf kids who are African American, who are Black, who wish there was more representation for them as well. And that's the thing, you can't just want one form of representation. You can't just say that there is a cishet Black man or woman on TV and that is blanket representation for everybody. No, there's Black queer people, there's Black trans people, there's Black deaf people, there are Black autistic people, there's deaf or there's Black blind people. Everybody deserves to see and hear themselves on screen and know that they're being represented. And I thought that was really beautiful. And I'm sure that they didn't even really think twice about the fact that this is a Black kid that's deaf, and how that would affect other Black deaf children. But truly and honestly, it was really, really powerful for them to make that choice. And I love that the writer, the creators of the game were the director, I guess, called and was like, oh, I have this change. I want to make Sam deaf. And he was like, I'm only mad that I didn't think of it first. I thought that was really cool. So all in all, this episode was really, really good. Like I said, I kind of flew through it. There wasn't a lot of action that happened. We lose Kathleen and Perry. I mean, these characters are going to be dying real fast, so don't get attached to them. The acting from Kavion and Lamar are just absolutely stellar, amazing talents. I can't wait to see them in more things. And I mean, the story also Bella Ramsey really ate this episode up. She played the spectrum from childlike to deep emotion. She created this bond with him so quickly, and when he gets killed and Henry unalives himself, you can see, I think this is really the first time where you can see her truly be wrecked. Because she tried to help. So we end the episode with Henry and Sam being buried by Joel and Ellie and them heading west, and that's where the episode ends. And what another heartbreaking episode. And we all knew it was coming. All of us that played the game knew it was coming. But gosh, it was rough, man. It was really, really rough. That's all I've got for this episode. Episode 5? What the hell? Episode 5, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Only because it was a little slow, just a little slow. But everything else about it, the accuracy, the changes made. So far, they have yet to make a change that I did not agree with. They really, truly are killing it with this series. And I cannot wait to see more. The next episode is February 19th, so gotta wait a little bit of time for the next episode, but whatever. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Of course, like I said, comment down below if there are other things you want me to review. I know I'm kind of on a kick of reviewing The Last of Us and not anything else. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get a notification every single time I post. I post 2 videos a week, and make sure that you are checking out my podcast, Mental Health Chat Monday, with this week's guest, Nix Kane. Beautiful episode, and next week we have Abe Shaw on Monday. I cannot wait to share that episode with you. Today we are here with a phenomenally talented, booked, blessed, and busy actor and a good friend of mine. Abe Shaw is in the house today. How are you, Abe?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
You know, I am actually thriving right now. How has this intermittent early phase of healing affected you?
Yeah, it's really, I'm just becoming way more self-aware of like things I do. I catch myself a lot. Actually, last year was like the first time where I felt like I actually had a panic attack. I had like and it was like midsummer. A lot happened in that time. Mm-hmm. I had never felt that at that state, but I was aware of what was happening at the same time. And I was just trying to think of like the patterns and like the exercises or things that could help me like catch my breath. I think that's another thing too. I breathe more. I breathe way more.
Oh.
And I'm aware of like when physically in my body, if I'm holding on to something way more, I'm really think that's affecting even for like performance and even recording something. Because my breath is way deeper in the body and I'm way more connected to it rather than.
And make sure you are sharing those episodes with your friends. I will see you all. Oh, don't forget to shop Lunar Sights hair color to get a little bit of money off. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.